Welcome to the Green Mountains in Vermont. So guys, I'm out here. I wanted to do a video, and I wanted to show you on site, guys, this beautiful place where I'm camping at. And guys, I wanted to take a moment and just be out here by this river and this beautiful scenery to just share with you guys about, the Jubilee real quick. So I know it's a little loud, so let me come closer. But guys, the Jubilee is about being a stranger and a pilgrim on this earth. It's about returning to your people, returning to your lands. And our land is not on the earth. We are those that seek the city whose builder and maker is God, and the foundations thereof. So our city is New Jerusalem. And God is restoring us back to heaven and taking us there and showing us marvelous things. So guys, I'm out here and I'm being a stranger and a pilgrim, he said in Leviticus 25, to be a stranger and pilgrim with me, he said. So guys, that's what we're doing. And when I do these videos and I'm in these remote places, I just want to show you the beautiful scenery. I wish I could edit and I'd show you all the different places. It's amazing. But I have some important information to go over with you about the calendar and time. The other thing I want to mention about the Jubilee is the Jubilee is in the sixth seal. In the sixth seal, in Isaiah 13, it said the people, that they would flee to their people and they would flee to their land. That's Isaiah 13 verse 10. And Isaiah 13 talks about the sun being darkened and the moon not giving her light, solar eclipse, blood moon. And it talks about, I will shake the heavens and the earth. Okay? All that is a description of the sixth seal in Isaiah 13. But he also talks about the people fleeing to their people, fleeing to the land. That is a definition, guys, of Jubilee. And the 144,000 are redeemed from people, they're redeemed from man, and they're redeemed from the land. So guys, that's what the Jubilee means to those who are the elect. So let's go inside and let's go look at the calendar, okay guys? Alright guys, so now let's talk about our calendar and our plumb line. You see I got our plumb line here. And before we did a little foundation, guys, on the calendar. And foundation, the importance of a 360-day calendar and the importance and shift of the 2 days. We've gone over that in great length. Now we're going to continue to view that importance as we look at the next 2 years, okay? So, so guys, let's get right into it. I have a lot of information to cover. You may get confused along the way. If you do, this is very advanced, okay? So, do I expect you to understand it? Yes, because I'm going to great lengths to describe it to you as simple as possible. But this is the unsealing of the information in order to find out the specific dates. How do you find dates in a 30-day calendar and with seasons? How do we do this? Well, we can. So, remember, we have this plumb line and it measures time. We use that for Daniel's timeline. We use that for the 364-day Enoch calendar. Now we're going to look at Daniel's 70-week time. And we're looking at weeks here, guys. So, so in Daniel 9, 70 weeks are determined upon your people and upon your city. Okay? Know therefore and understand from the going forth the commandment to restore it and build Jerusalem, the Messiah, the Prince, shall be 7 weeks and 62 weeks. The street shall be built again, and the wall in troublous times. The street there, guys, means in the Hebrew, plaza. Okay? The plaza will be built. Well, what plaza? Well, that's the inner court that we find in Revelation 11, verses 1 and 2. So read that. It also says the wall in troublous times. Now, that word wall is in Hebrew is also translated gold. Know that the trying of your faith being much more precious than gold. So what God is building here, guys, in these verses is a people. Okay? Let's understand that. And after 62 weeks, which says in the King James, or 62 weeks, shall the Messiah be cut off, not for himself, and the people and the prince shall come and destroy the city and the sanctuary, and the end thereof shall be with a flood, until the end of war of desolations are determined. So that's what this plumb line measures, are these weeks. Now, there are other interpretations with this, which I also, give merit to, but we are actually looking at this as weeks. So how do we know when the weeks are? When do they start? How do you know when it starts? When's the day? When's the 7 weeks and when's the 62 weeks? All right. Well, let's look at it. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the camera over here for you guys to see this. Okay. Okay. So what I have here, guys, in my notes, I want to show you. Move that out the way. Okay. All right. So when I kept Sukkot, I began to draw the offerings, guys. See this? So these are the offerings on the days of the 7th month. Okay? Very simple. On the first day, Feast of Trumpets, and the 10th day, Day of Atonement, this is the offering. 1 bull, 1 ram, 7 lambs, 1 goat. Okay? Now that also is on the 22nd day, or the last day of Sukkot, or the 8th day. Same thing. 1 bull, 1 ram, 7 lambs, and 1 goat. Okay, well, what are you getting at, Leland? Well, when we look, guys, at these offerings, we're given information here. All right? So what we have is the first day of Tabernacles, which is the 15th day of the month, you are to offer 13 bulls, 2 rams, 14 lambs, and 1 goat. Now, there's also portions of those as a meat offering, which we'll not get into. But there was a sacrifice by fire, sweet savor. That's why we have our incense offering. All right. And then you see the first day. So you do that the first day. This is the second, the third. Now you can see on the second day, you offer 12 bulls. But the rams, lambs, and goats stay the same, 2, 14, 1, right? And the third day, 11. So I was looking at this. I'm like, why is this counting down like that? And I looked at this, and I began to realize that this is, we don't offer animals. The lamb was slain once and for all. But what is going on here? Why is this counting down? Why is that doing that? And what I began to see order and structure within this that made me realize I was looking at time. Okay? So when you add up the bulls in this offering of these 7 days, it adds to 70. 70 bulls. Remember, 70 weeks are determined, right? So I begin to realize that the 70 bulls are the same ones in Daniel 9. They're 70 weeks. Okay? Now, these are the total. So when you add up the rams, you come to 14 rams. Okay? When you add up the lambs, you come to 98 lambs. When you add up the goats, there are 7 goats. Okay? But I began to realize, guys, this is a calendar, or this is measuring time. And it's measuring 70 weeks are determined. 70 bullocks, okay? So what this measures is time over 2 years. 2 years, guys. So in 2 years, each year has 7 rams. So this is half. Half of 98 is 49. Half of 7 is 3.5. So this offering measures time within a 2-year period. So the bullocks are 70 weeks, right? And the lambs represent 1 week. There are 98 lambs, but half of that is 49. So you have 2 years of 49 weeks. All right? There are rams. The ram represents 7 times 7 weeks. There are goats. The goats are 2 times 7 times 7. Well, what is that? That's 98. So if you look at the lamb is a Sabbath of 7 days. The ram, 49 days. The goat, 98 days. Okay? All right, so what we have is something that is measuring time. And you might say, Leland, you're crazy. Well, either I'm crazy or I'm onto something, okay? So let's just look at this, all right? So again, I begin to realize 14 times 7 is 98. And half of 98 is 49. And I knew that 49 is weeks, and that's a year. So if you multiply that by 7, you have 343 days. So how do we come up with a calendar of 343 days from this information? How do we do that? How do we take these animals and the measurement of time with these animals? The lamb is a week, 7 days. The ram is 49 days. And the goat is 98. How do we find that? How do we do that? Well, that's why I went over the calendar before, so that we understood a 360-day calendar. But the way to do it is to figure out what days to skip. And you do that with the, can you see that? Sabbathown. Sabbathown. See that at the top? Say that with me. Sabbathown. Rest. Okay, so this word is the key to understanding which days to skip. So there's only 343 days we're counting in a year. Which days do we skip? Okay, so these are all the verses that use this Hebrew word Shabbaton. All right? And they relate to the Sabbath. Okay, so these are the days that we skip. You see, manna is a reference to the 7-day Sabbath. Okay? But manna is also unleavened bread. So we skip the week of unleavened bread. We skip the 10th day of the 7th month. We skip the Day of Atonement. We skip the first day of the 7th month, which is the Feast of Trumpets. We skip that day. We skip the 9th day of the 7th month. This is the day before the Day of Atonement. We skip the 15th day of the 7th month, the first day, and then it says the 7-day feast. So we skip also Tabernacles. And then this Shabbathon is also in reference to the Shemitah and the Jubilee. Okay? But what we're doing is we're trying to come to terms with which days do we skip in a calendar in order to figure out what these days are. So that's it right there, guys. It's the Shabbathon. We skip the Shabbathon. So we skip 2 weeks and 3 days. I think that's right? How many days? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 days. No, the 15th is the same as the 7 days. Okay? And the weeks of the 7th day Sukkot, and we skip unleavened bread or manna. All right? So there we go. Now, how do you do that? Well, that's why I spent so much time, guys, going over this pattern in this calendar. Okay? So here it is. So now we have the days that we skip. Trumpets, the 9th day, the Day of Atonement, Tabernacles, right? Those are the days that we skip. And then we also skip unleavened bread. So when we do that, you can see trumpets is day 1, and then you count. Day 2 is day 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7, skip. Okay, so now these 7 are like the 7 days of the sacrifice, right? Then you count here. Now that's the 11th day of the 7th month. Okay, so this is the 7th month. And then you keep counting. 8, 9, and you go through. Then you come to the 22nd day of the 7th month. And that's 12, and you keep counting. Then what happens, you can see the 30th day of the 7th month, you have 20 days. So that lines up because you've skipped 10 days, right? 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay? And then you just go through the 8th month. Remember, every month has 30 days. So 30 days. And now we come to 7 weeks. This is the first thing that we saw. This is the 49th day. So this 49 is the first ram. See the ram? 7 times 7 weeks, 49. So this is the ram, or this is the first of the offering here. Let me put this in the light so you can see it. 70 weeks. No further understand that going from the village of Jerusalem shall be 7 weeks. So this is the first one. So that is right here. The 8th month and the 29th day. That is November 13th, 2015. Okay? Then you just keep counting. Okay? Now you keep counting. Now what you also skip, guys, is you skip the solar events. Okay? So that every month now has 30 days. Okay, so 30 days. So you also skip the solar days, the equinox and eclipse, and the not eclipses, excuse me, the autumnal solstice and equinoxes. You skip those. Okay. Now you have 30-day months, so you can see that 30, 30, 30, and the numbers line up perfectly, and then you keep going. So the first month, Nisan. Now you're at 171, and you go through. You count Passover. That's the 84th day, excuse me. And you skip unleavened bread. See that? Then you get 185, and then you keep going. You keep counting, you keep counting, keep counting. You count through the Feast of Weeks, okay? And you keep counting. You skip the solstice, autumn. And then you keep counting, you keep counting, you keep counting, and you come to the end, the last day, 343. So there you have it. So now you have a calendar with 343 days. Now this is 2 years. So that completes 1 year. Then you go through again. When you go through again, in order to get to the 62nd, the 62 weeks, or the 62nd week, you go through and you come to the 91st day. And that would be the second year, the 10th month, and the 11th day. That's actually Christmas Eve in the Gregorian calendar 2016. And that, what we would expect would be, and after 62 weeks shall Messiah be cut off, not for himself, but for the people of the prince shall come and destroy the city and the sanctuary, and the end thereof shall be with a flood. Unto the end of the war and desolations are determined. Okay? So that's what we would expect on that specific date according to this calendar. All right? So guys, there we have it. Let me show you another graphical representation of this. You've probably seen me do these clocks and stuff. Let's see if I can get a good view of it. Not really there. Oh, there we go. It's a little bit better. Okay? So what we have here, guys, is the center is the 7-week cycle of a year. And these are the months. Month 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. Okay? Now this cycle we're talking about, instead of starting in the first month, it starts in the 7th month. Okay? So this is the 49 days. So 49 days, this is the first cycle, the second, and it goes around in a year, and it goes around twice. Okay? So that's why it's important that we understand a calendar of weeks. You can't measure consistent weeks in a lunar calendar. It differs. 1 year, there's 354 days. The next, there's 384 because there's a skip month. They add a month, Okay? So guys, that's why I'm doing this stuff, to show you time, to show you these things. So in this cycle, see that there? That is the same as our rams. 7 times 7 weeks, 49 days. That is what this is. Okay? Each one of these, a ram, a ram, a ram, a ram, a ram, and it goes around. Okay? And each month has 30 days, and we skip the solar events. And then we also have goats. So there would be 7 goats over 2 years. So that is a total of 98 days. I can show you all that. I'm not sure that there's any prophetic implications there, but there are to the weeks and the days. So this here counts those days in that 2-year cycle. Now, there may be other things this does, but I'm focusing on 2 years, guys. This is the 6th seal, okay? All right, so that's a lot of information, I know, and I'm going through it quickly, pause it if you don't get anything and go back. All right? God bless, guys. And we'll talk soon.